This is Strengths-Based Radio, promoting recovery and well-being through podcasts about mental health. Welcome back to Strengths-Based Radio series on Zen Buddhism and mindfulness. I'm Josh Kurz-Burchard. We are back for more on Zen and mindfulness with Peter Taylor. Peter is the author of Smell the Coffee and Wake Up and the blog zenmister.com. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you, Josh.
Today we are going to talk about your essay, Relative Suffering, which is from your first chapter called Suffering. First, Peter, would you read that chapter for us?
Sure. Relative suffering. When you are very young, you suffer intensely and it passes without leaving a trace. A young child can fall into a wailing, sobbing fit whenever the mood hits. Nobody gets alarmed at these moods or buys into the root cause. Parents understand it is a mood, likely caused by hunger or tiredness. When you move into your teens and early adulthood, moods still come and go. The causes are more compelling, such as love, social acceptance, social rejection. The moods stay longer and may leave scars. Parents don't understand. Sometimes they think they understand, but they remain powerless. When you get to later adulthood, right up to death, moods are quite serious. Teens and children don't understand. Adult responsibilities pile up. The scars of earlier years open up fresh. You are no longer going through stages then. You are really suffering. Suffer, suffer, suffer. It's all the same. If you could suffer like the young child and observe your suffering like the parent, knowing that it is not as bad as it feels, you could learn a bit from suffering. If you learn to see suffering for what it is, you will grow wings.
Thank you, Peter. How can we learn from suffering by putting it into the context of a lifetime?
I think by looking at suffering over the course of your life, you see that it all comes from the same feeling, the same experience, but we give it different causes. We give it different importance as we grow older. Whenever we're suffering now, and it always feels worse than any other suffering that we can imagine because we're actually experiencing it. And when we get to be older, our suffering habits extend over longer periods of time, and we don't see them coming and going as much. So we keep reinventing that suffering. So it's helpful to look at it as a child suffers, because we look at children suffering and we think, oh, they're okay, they're just sad, they're just afraid, everything's okay. But when we're older, we don't know that everything's okay anymore. We forget that. We say, oh, everything's really bad because this is really suffering. But it is really okay. So it's helpful for us to be able to look into that and find out why and how it's really okay.
You say if you learn to see suffering for what it is, you will grow wings. So what is seeing suffering for what it is?
Seeing suffering for what it is cutting through all the thinking. It's the feeling, the raw feeling of fear or anxiety or stress. And that's all bound up with the story, with the thoughts that we wrap around that suffering. So when we cut through the story, when we cut through the thinking, and we just look at the feeling, we see that we can handle that feeling, that it's just one of the feelings that we handle all the time, all throughout our lives. We handled the same feeling when we were a child, when we were a teenager, when we were an adult. It's that feeling that we can handle, but the story makes it seem much worse than it is. So when we grow wings, we hover above it all, and we can see the world from a new perspective.
Thank you, Peter, and we look forward to the next chapter.
Thank you.
Thank you you for listening to Strengths-Based Radio. Join us on our website at strengthsbaseradio.org. Thank you for listening to Strengths-Based Radio. Join us on our website at strengthsbaseradio.org.